as the peaciest country, but you will always see their contents. They are always shooting people in streets. They are always fighting how to save the world. There is Captain America. Do we have Captain Chigari?
Come on.
So how do you tell me that Captain America is saving the world only for the thing which fell in New York?
Oh,
that is how people takes over by being who they really are.
Yeah, sure.
That's who they are, and that's what they play. That's why you will always see Chinese doing kung fu.
Kung fu things. Their culture, bro.
Trust me, we are very scared of Chinese people, Japanese people for their kung fu. Yeah. Yet, not all of them knows kung fu.
Yeah.
You can fight a Chinese, but they sold their identity.
That kind of, I know.
That is why in every Indian movie you watch, there will be a minute of dancing. They are selling their identity.
I know.
So we are loving them because
Africa is rising. The world is watching. Technology is changing the way we create, explore, and do businesses. From AI-driven arts to the virtual tourism, from culture NFTs to digital entrepreneurship, Africa is not behind. Africa is leading. And of course, here we are to talk about it. Welcome to the TechSphere podcast, the place where tech meets art, tourism, culture, and business. Join the conversation, join the revolution, join us. This is for Africa, and here we are. Let's make it happen again.
Alright, so it's all about good vibes. Thank you so much for always tuning to the TechSphere podcast, your number one, of course, podcast in Africa. Talks about technology through arts, tourism, culture. What about heritage? Or what about every single thing you think about, you can talk about? Yes, we talk it's in TechSphere. About technology, of course, we maximize it. My name is Ismail, Papi Muhinda, and of course, I am your host today. My brother is here in part 2. Last few minutes ago, was going to take some water, and we were talking about arts. Arts in culture, especially in Africa. We was talking about how Africa is now being protecting our culture, and we were talking about the way we as Africans, we respect our identity, especially when it's about culture. So briefly, we are going to dive into business, but business, when I say business, I mean it a business. My brother, Uncle K, as I said in the last introduction, he is a CEO and the founder of Kana brand, and of course co-founder in No Collection. Those collections and brands are all about creating in arts. And of course, that's business aspect. So when it's about iSmartHouse, it's all about art and technology. So we are taking those three aspects in one live show like this TechSphere podcast and bring into you, of course, in your screens. Hey, my brother, welcome back in.
Thank you so much.
Second part. It's main part 2, but about business. Okay.
Yeah.
Why business in arts? Or why arts in business?
Instead of
why arts in business? Or maybe why business in arts?
Actually, there is no art without business.
And there's no business.
And there is no business without art. There is
maybe art or business is art. Or art is business.
No, I may say business is one aspect in art. There is the art of selling, art of buying, art of bargaining, art of saving. Is art. Everything is art.
Come on.
Trust me, Papi. We are not going. I told you that art is life. And Africa is art.
And we have seen that business without art.
Wait. I want you to understand this. I want everyone to understand this. Africa is art. Art is life. And if art if Africa is art, it means Africa is life. And there is no life without business.
Means that African business is matchmaking there. I can feel it. So are you going to mean that, as you said, Africa is life,
Yeah.
and Africa is an art, and you said that art is the business. We Africans, are we the business?
If we are not, that means we have took a wrong, the long path, but we were supposed to be there.
Really?
We were supposed. You asked me why business in art. We are talking about art as a part of life, as life in general, because everything we do is art. So how do we monetize what we do? How do we put that art? How do we put our daily life in business? How do we turn waking up, going to the sport into business?
Come on.
So we turn this into business by monetizing what we do, monetizing how we do it. If you, Isma, you're calling me, yo, please come and we do this game. Let's go there and sit on fireplace.
Night fire, something.
Night fire gathering. How do we how do we turn that fire gathering into money? Is by monetizing what we do. We are going to be drinking. So those drinks that we are going to be drinking are arts. So we are not going to take business from art. There is no art without business. That's why we call it showbiz. When someone is doing this in media, we call it showbiz.
Yeah.
But we know how to bargain. Let's say this economic business. Once we come to economic business, we talk about exchange of things. You give me this, I give you this. You pay for the ticket to come to my show, I give you happiness.
That's true.
You come to my comedy night, you pay, and we make sure that you enjoy the show. So it's all about monetizing what we do and how we do it.
Especially when we go to this aspect of releasing our energy in arts and of course across the business, I want to jump direct into this kind of question. It goes like, how can African artists monetize their work effectively in today's digital age? Brother, I know it's now huge. We have Spotify, we have YouTube, we have those kind of social medias, but we Africans, how can we monetize?
First of all, we want to see, are we in that? Because if life is art, and if life is art, are we willing to turn that art into business?
Come on.
Are we ready to turn the art? Are we ready to turn the poems? Are we ready to turn the songs? Are we ready to turn the storytelling nights and folktales myth into business? So how do we turn this into business? How do we turn what we do into like that monetization you talked about?
Come on.
So it's we have social platforms, online platforms. Why should I wake up in the morning and spend 20 hours of scrolling on Instagram without uploading or posting my own content? YouTube pays people, Facebook pays people, websites pays people, a lot of platforms which pays people. It's a matter of learning and understanding how to benefit from those platforms.
I know.
So by then we need to create something unique.
That's true.
How do we create something unique? We come back to what we talked.
Yes.
The roots, to the culture identity. We create something new which will differentiate us from the global market.
Jump in between. actually you are bringing something I love, because some people they be like, no, to wake up in the morning and you create my own content, it spend time, it spends money, and sometimes it's fell in the way. Yes, it might be failing in the way, but it's because you don't have your identity. You are not bringing the identity of your content.
I'll tell you this. Do you know why Indian movies are always exaggerating? One man could punch like 10 people with one punch, and they are all down. Yeah. You know why they have that? That's their identity.
With Jack Chan in Chinese.
Do you remember back in days when Tanzania was the leading movie industry in Rwanda?
In Africa.
You know why? I mean in Africa. Yeah. You know why? It's because they had their identity.
The bongo things.
The bongo stuffs. Like they were poisoning, jealousy. That they are being who they really are. So that is,
and that's
when
how actual Nigerians are reading.
That's what Nigerians are doing. That's why you see America portrays themselves as the peaciest country, but you will always see their contents. They are always shooting people in streets. They are always fighting how to save the world. There is Captain America. Do we have Captain Chigari?
Come on.
So how do you tell me that Captain America is saving the world only for the thing which fell in New York?
Oh,
that is how people takes over by being who they really are.
Yeah, sure.
That's who they are, and that's what they play. That's why you will always see Chinese doing kung fu.
Kung fu things. Their culture, bro.
Trust me, we are very scared of Chinese people, Japanese people for their kung fu. Yeah. Yet, not all of them knows kung fu.
Yeah.
You can fight a Chinese, but they sold their identity.
That kind of, I know.
That is why in every Indian movie you watch, there will be a minute of dancing. They are selling their identity.
I know.
So we are loving them because of wearing sali. You know, sali, those clothes, their clothes. So there is this thing that every artist need to understand. Turn your identity into business.
Come on.
Your identity is art. Yeah, you mentioned that I am a fashion designer. I do clothes. I own a fashion boutique. What do we do there? We sit and think. What if we create something that looks like umushanana, the traditional attire, and we come up with a great idea? What if we do people knows imigongo? What if we bring a sandal with umugongo design? Because you're not going to do great suits more than Italians.
I know. You're not going to bring like kind of things.
You're not going to do like nice shoes more than France. You're not going to do the greatest chocolates more than Belgians.
Exactly.
You're not going to cook. I'm telling you that those are all aspects of art. You're not going to cook pasta more than Italians. You're not going to do the greatest pizza than Americans. So what do we do most? Do they do isombe? Do they do matoke? Do they do beans with
yeah, that's true.
Something like that. We sell our identity, and people loves that. To everyone who is in a different aspect of life, of business, people needs identity. That is why you are not going to sell a suit to a white man who is from Italy, but you're going to sell him a Jitenje made shirt. You're going to sell him Umugongo branded shirt. He will buy that. He's going to buy Agaseche, but you're not going to sell him a Versace suit. I mean, a Versace bag. No, but he is ready to buy Agaseche because he doesn't have that. That's not his identity. And trust me, Papi, every person loves diversity. Why do I have to buy a Versace t-shirt in Rwanda, yet in my neighborhood in America, there is a Versace shop?
Come on.
You see?
Come on.
I was born seeing that. If I go
What's
from here,
new from that?
if I go from here and let's say I fly to Paris, I am not going to ask for agatogo because I eat that. That's my life.
I know.
So please don't sell me that. Sell me your best dish.
Hey, yeah.
So the way to monetize that is to first redefine, renovate what we do. If we can't sell it the way it was, let's sell it in a renovated way, but let's sell the identity.
Come on.
Papi, if there is one of the most interesting parts of wedding is the morning wedding. Like where there will be cow praises. Someone will be there talking about cows for an hour and everyone is interested. If there is something which is very sweet in weddings is dances, traditional dances. So how do we monetize those dances? How do we sell this to the outer world is what should be mattering. Because you will not be a hip-hop artist more than Central C in UK. You will never be Jay-Z. But you can be Masamba in Rwanda. You can be a good drummer, traditional drummer, more than anyone else.
That's true, bro. That's true.
You can be a very good Umuduri player in the world. There will never be any competitor.
That's why Makembe becomes one of the biggest creators.
Makembe is now being hosted in BBC News.
Yeah.
Commercial break. They host Makembe. They host this guy, Munyakazi, a friend of mine, Munyakazi, the guy who plays in Anga.
Yeah.
So that is what they do. I remember back in years when Bruce Melody, I don't know if you know Bruce
Kenya,
Melody.
right?
He went to Kenya.
Yeah, Bruce Melody is one of leading artists in Rwanda. Yeah.
We are talking about the leading artist.
Yeah.
Rwanda's leading artist.
Yeah, sure.
He was asked, what do you do?
What kind of music do you do?
It's not even a kind of music. What do you do? Because when he was asking for the interview, he mentioned that he's a musician. But after listening to his music,
what do you do?
What they had was Sauti Sol in one person. Because he wasn't different from Sauti Sol. That is why we had an artist like Ivan Boravan who went there and won Prix de Couverte.
2018.
That is why we need identity, musical identity, film identity, fashion identity, cooking identity. Because we are going to
bring the identity in every single
Papi,
aspect.
I think if there is Rwandese who are listening to us, they know what is now called Visit Bigogo. That is a project which have been here for 3 years, only 3 years.
Yes.
But this is one of touristic flags in Rwanda. Everyone wants to go to Bigogwe to experience that experience, to get that experience. How do cows live? How do they milk cows? What's that identity? Cattle identity. You remember when we went down there?
Yeah, Rushonga.
All of us didn't want to come back.
I know.
Because we had something which belonged to us.
Yeah.
That's who we are. You wearing this Islamic attires, me wearing the suit, does not make me a Munyarwanda. But living a Munyarwanda life makes me African. That's my identity. So before we learn how to monetize our art, we need to understand that
our identity,
we are going to sell our identity. We are showcasing identities. You cannot be a very great comedian, stand-up comedian in Rwanda once you want to act like Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart.
No. But you can be a very good comedian in Rwanda, even though you can be using that language. So to that, I will say that like 3 things. One was understanding the identity, and the second was how do we sell what
identity.
we do? How do we sell that identity, which was by through online platforms, YouTubes, and that. Why?
Why do you have to?
Why do you
Come
want?
on. Actually, why do you have to say that?
Why do you want to say
I think
that?
it's gonna be even the second. It's gonna be the second before we go to the market.
Why
should
do you-
please
yeah.
feel like why do I have to say this kind of identity?
Why do I have to do this? If you're doing this for money, trust me, you're getting money, but in a short period. But if what you have in your mind is to let the world know
That is something.
who you are, what you have, trust me, this is going to be a long term project.
Man, I know it's a very huge aspect to understand, and I know Kevin will be talking about this long and through our podcast is different way. But let me go with this kind of quick one. Kevin, what an advice would you give to young creatives looking to break into this kind of business artistic industry?
Firstly, they have to know that art is not an island.
Hola.
Art is not island.
Yeah.
You're not going to be a lone survivor.
Who? Yes, sir.
Trust me, you need to collaborate with your fellow artists. Papi, this is what these young
shout out
generations...
to iSmartHouse for this creative industry. They brought us like to let us create, to let us put things out, and of course, shout out to the IYMS, International Youth Media Summit. Really, for me, they helped me.
Yeah. So first of all, they need to understand that art is not an island. You need to collaborate. You need to network.
Come on, that's
Trust
true.
me.
That's key element.
You need to network.
And I think we'll bring this in our podcast.
And network, not to influence or be influenced. Network to learn. If you meet a Chinese artist,